get rolling in but 15 seconds or less. All right. Here we are, my friends. Welcome to the big show. So, good stuff for you today. Good stuff. So let's pray. We're going to get to a lot of birthdays, because this is special spring break edition of the birthday list. So, pray with me if you would. Gentlemen, hats off while we pray, and then we will get going. Lord, thank you for the break that you provided for us. And, so we're all back. We lift up the rest of our year, next 2 months, Lord, that you would help us to finish well and to be moving forward and not just trying to get by. Thank you for bringing us to this place and for the experiences and lessons that you have for us yet in this school year. Thank you for this time. Thank you for our guest who's with us, and just open our hearts and our minds to hear what you have for us today. In your name, amen. All right, so with that, get ready for a special spring break edition of the birthday list. Okay. But there is one. I left one off on purpose. How old were you in that picture? I don't know. That was 2 pair of glasses ago for me. So, and I lost that hat a long time ago. So anyway, there's Molly. Now, I don't know if you know, but Molly was a homeschooler up until this year. And one of the cool things about homeschool is that you can do your homework in kind of unique and exotic locations. So here's Molly doing math in the backyard in the seat that she outgrew long before this picture was taken. So anyway, one of the perks of having your own kids go to your school is that you get to do things like this. So Molly, are you embarrassed yet? Excellent. Okay, then my work is done here. So happy birthday, sweetie. I love you. And keep... Should we hug right here in front of everybody? Should we hug? No. If it makes you feel any better, I did the same thing to Anna when she was in 8th grade. Yeah, she didn't like it either. Anyway, so happy birthday to you. All right, let's do some props. Pretty cool props this week. Here's one for Ellie. This is from Mrs. Grambush, who said, props for Ellie. So obviously this is art related. Who pours the ink, cleans up everyone else's spilled ink, and loves calligraphy anyway. So where's Miss Ellie? She's not here. So, all right. There's that. Now, Mr. Cole Jack, who made the birthday list and the props list on the same day. Says Mrs. Grambush, says, calligraphy for left-handers is really hard. I will say, as one who writes left-handed, the world is made for right-handed writers. That's just the fact of life. It says, but he has figured it out how to make it work with creative and original results. So, Cole, it sounds like you have artistic ability, which, as one who does not have them, enjoy that. That is really cool. All right. Week before spring break, Chad contributed to the Lost Money Fund, and so he turned in. It was a good chunk of change. So again, the junior high bank is growing. Ned Carlson, where's Ned? Where's Nedley? So, Ned, as you may know, we're in the we were in the C's, and Ned had lunch cleanup, and so Ned was one of 4 people on lunch cleanup. The other 3 didn't really do it, which is a nice way of saying they didn't do it. So Ned faithfully every day was the lunch cleanup crew for that week, which is big time because that means he's remembering, he's making a priority, and he also didn't complain about it. All right, so Ned, thanks, brother. Appreciate your work. Last but not least, so, by the way, so in the Junior High Talent Show, is a huge production. Like, you don't just get up here, give them a mic, and have them do their thing. There's so much work that goes on with it. And I remembered most things. Seems like every year there's always one thing I forget. So I realized, and as you may or may not know, we record these chapels. We put them on YouTube. And anytime we put talent shows on our YouTube channel, they get watched a lot. And so it was right before chapels started, and I realized my videographer's not here. I need somebody. And so I talked to Zach. Where's Zach? Zach in the house. Anyway, I just said to Zach, I was like, hey, Zach, you want to record for me? And he's like, sure. Not only did he do it, but he did a great job, and it's already been viewed like 90 times since I posted it. So it was really cool. He just stepped up. Yeah. So if you got some props this week, stand up, give them a hand, because these people are making a difference. So. All right. That's really cool. That's really cool. So our guest this week is a guy I'm really excited to have you learn from and hear from. Jono is a pastor at Northshore Community Church up in, I guess, what is now Kirkland. So I don't know, they're annexing things anyway. It used to be Bothell, whatever. You'll notice here that while Jono speaks, the Dear Abby number is going to be up. So if at some point during his talk he says something that you have a question about, or sparks a question about something else, you can text it to that number. Okay, remember, it comes up anonymously. This one is going to go to Mr. Nelson's phone, and then the student council will talk about it, write a thoughtful biblical response, and put it up in the B hall. So this isn't, again, just to reiterate, this isn't one where you ask the question. We're not doing Q&A at the end. But if you have a question, text that number, and then as soon as you're done, put your phone away and so on, and then Jono will take it from here. So I'm going to let him introduce himself since he knows himself better than I do. So please welcome Jono Lippman to the show.
Well, hello. How are you guys doing? Good, bad? How are you guys doing? I just want someone. Oh, by the way, where's Molly? Happy birthday. I was kind of hoping the next picture, because he's like, this is Molly when she had way grown out that swing doing her math homework, and then next picture, this is the swing broken. Here's Molly on the ground. There's her math homework. I was kind of hoping for that. I think you're great, but I just thought that would be funny. You would have moved on past it and healed and whatever. So I actually work at the church that Mike goes to. Not technically a pastor, but whatever. Who cares? So here's the deal. I can tell you guys all that I think you need to know about me for me to give you this talk, or I can just take a few minutes and say, ask me whatever questions you want. I will answer them, and then we'll get into it. How's that sound? Good? Okay. So raise your hand and ask a question. I will wait for you to think of one. Wait, you just raised your hand. You don't have one? No? Did you just think it'd be funny to raise your hand? How old am I? I'm 28. Good. Good job. What's your name? Carter? Good question. Is that a hand raised, or are you reaching out to me? It looks more like this. What's your name? Do I have any? No. Not yet. Not yet. I worked there for like 2 years. What's my middle name? Edward, and actually my full name is Jonathan Edward. So it's dignified. That goes on college essays. Yeah. Do I have any pets? My family has. We don't right now because we live in an apartment. Actually, my wife is right over there in the pink jacket, and she's gonna hate me for doing this. But everyone wave. Her name's Erin. She's lovely. We've been married for almost 2 years, and my family has a dog, and it is a one-eyed seeing eye dog. That make sense? It has only one eye, not two eyes. All right, back there. You have to be loud. Well, I've graduated from college, but now I'm back in college. So, yes. Favorite color? I really like green. Favorite animal? I'm a big fan of a lion, because they're cool. But I always kind of more like, just because of my body build associated with a gorilla more, Mike might relate. Yeah? I'm sorry, did I just insult your principal? Okay, great. I went to Biola University. Where did I get my REI? It's sick, right? Do you want to go get one? All right, afterwards we'll go. I'm kidding, don't. That'd be weird. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear him because of your jovial laughter. Favorite free time activity? I have a lot. I like playing guitar. I like running. I like surfing, climbing, backpacking, hanging out with friends, having good conversation. Where I'm from Northern California, in the Bay Area. I'm gonna move over here. Yes. I already answered that. Biola University, it's in Southern California. What's my favorite kind of music? I think I'm more at the point right now where I'm like, oh, I can like appreciate all kinds of music. One of my favorite bands is this band Thrice, which I don't know if you guys have heard of. Coheed and Cambria, you probably haven't heard of. Of bands that you guys may know that I'm like, oh, these guys are actually good is I really like Walk the Moon. Have you guys? Yeah. I thought I heard Shut Up and Dance, and I was like, this is, like, I was dancing in the car, and it was embarrassing. All the way over here. Favorite sport? Wrestling. Do you guys have a wrestling team? Raise your hand if you're on the team. Yes! I love it! Do we have any girls on the team? Are there any girl wrestlers? No? All right, just side note, girls, there are, I don't know, do you guys even allow that? We had some gnarly girls on our wrestling team. Yeah, wrestling, I was a wrestler. How old? We already answered that. Ask someone else. All right, we're going to go for like 3 more. Sound booth, you got to be really loud. You got it. I can't hear him. Hold that thought. Wait. Sorry. What? Favorite food? Anything in a tortilla. Best British accent? London? Okay. What? I can't hear him. What sparked my interest in working at a church? That's actually a really good question. I had always kind of had this interest of, I don't know, working in ministry to some extent, and I worked at camps a lot in college, and just kind of, as I graduated, fell into it and really enjoyed it. And I don't know if it's always what I'm going to be doing. I'm always kind of open to where God's leading, and but I really enjoy it right now. Right here. Yeah. My opinions on dragons. They exist. Favorite thing from Starbucks? My wife, because she works there. All right, let's go right here. Shh. 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 favorite version of the Bible? This is only at a school like this am I going to get that question. I like the ESV. Oh, favorite verse. I thought you said version. I was like, I don't know. The NIV's great. I love 1 Corinthians 1:15 through like 22, where it's talking about Jesus, and he's the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. By him, through him, all things were made. That passage. Okay, 2 more. Yeah. Do I believe in unicorns? I believe in dragons. So yes. Okay, last one.
What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Hook? Do you guys know that movie? Okay. Yeah, magical. Okay, great. Hands down, hands down. Here's the thing. I had fun doing that. You guys seem to enjoy that. So here's the plan. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then by the end, if we have some time, I know you guys have your Dear Abby thing. Is it cool if I, 2 more minutes of questions? I just have to check everything. Like, Mike, can I, or Mr. Olson? Is it Mike? Do you guys call him Mike or Mr. Olson? Or Dad? Okay. So here's my premise. Who here has taken an English class where you have to write an essay? Right? Okay. So the first time you have to write an essay, it's daunting, and your teacher's like, this is how you introduce it. This is how the body and the paragraphs and the conclusion work. But the important thing is, what's the question you're trying to answer? What's your thesis? What's the meat of this whole thing going to be about, right? Does that sound familiar? Okay. So my question and my thesis, I guess, for you guys is I want you guys to take a second. I don't want you to turn to your friend and go, oh my gosh, I know the answer to this. I want you, we're gonna do a little silent game. And I want you just in silence for a second, ponder this 2-part question. When has a time you have thought, oh my word, I'm gonna die? Or wait, don't turn to your, or what is something that you are afraid may happen to you at some point in your life that you may think, oh my word, I want to die, or I'm going to die? Make sense? Think of that. And I'm going to tell you a story. So, a few years ago, I got the privilege of going to Africa. And it was I was there for 6 weeks, and I was like staying out in the bush with a team from my school, and we got to know a lot of these people who lived in these really tribal settings, like stuff that you're like, oh, that's what I've seen pictures like that in National Geographic. I was going there wondering, like, is it going to look like that? And it did. Like mud huts, animals everywhere, no lions, unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on your view. Either way, so I got to spend 6 weeks there, and it was amazing. And at the end of it, it was the last few days I was there. I was in this village, and it was a little bit of a wealthier village because they had like brick huts, not mud huts. And I was sitting down. I'm gonna give you guys a real visual right here. I was sitting, just like this, and I was reading a book. See, this is storytelling right here. Now you can see we're just tracking. I was reading a book, and my team leader said, okay, Jono, we got to go. And I'm like, okay, it's time to go. So I reach up, and there's this little brick wall right here, and I reach up and pull myself on it. And I mean, I'm not a tall person, but I'm not a light person. And that was also really not great when I was in junior high. Just, by the way, was the fat kid. It's okay. You will work through these things. So, pulled up on this brick, and it just, instead of pulling myself up, I just pulled it off. And I was like, of course I'm going to break something. And like right before it, I was talking with my friend, and I said to her, I was like, man, you know in the Bible when it says that if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you could move mountains? Oh, wouldn't that be cool? And I had this like image of mountain type thing. and then unicorns coming out and dragons. And we were just kind of like, yeah, that would be cool. But what would that really look like? Anyways, so I reached down to pick up this brick and immediately shoot up, scream like, ow! And it felt like 50 bees. Like, just imagine like the pain of one bee sting times 50 just going straight into your finger in a really small spot. And I was just like, and so we're kind of trying to figure out, I was like, okay, first thought, I'm going to lose my finger. And it was actually this hand. Sorry, I lied. Truth. This hand. Forgive me. So I was freaking out, and I was like, I'm going to lose my finger, and we're trying to figure out what it is. Was it an ant? Was it a piece of metal? I was like, no, there was impact. It was like something hit me. And after a little bit, I look back down, and my friend Candace, who very much has like the Elsa or Giselle look in life, where it, like just the very wide-eyed Disney princess, like face all the time, looks at me. She comes up to me and she's like, I think I know what it is. Okay, what is it? She points down, and there's a scorpion, this big, right on the ground. And I just, in this learned that like the smaller the scorpion, the worse your situation's gonna be. And my response was very gracious. I just go, kill it! And then my mind goes, and this is like how my imagination works and what I do when I'm scared or when I'm overwhelmed by something, is I immediately do this. I'm going to die. Okay. This is my internal dialogue that's happening at this moment. Okay, well, I'm gonna die. I'm on a mission trip, and I'm in Africa, so that's got to get me some points somewhere for God. So, great, I'm going to, end up on the gates of glory. Well, how'd you die? I got stung by a scorpion doing missions in Africa. Well, that's okay, that's fine. Oh, man, someone's going to have to tell my mom that I died. That's going to be a hard conversation. Well, I guess my brother can have my guitar, and what other belongings do I have in life? None. So, that's gonna be weird, and like my friends, the funeral's gonna be really weird, and like I'm dying young, so hopefully people can like rejoice in this, and at the same time I haven't been married, and there's a woman out there who's never gonna know me. And then I got like really romantic, and I was like, what if I know her already and we've met but we don't realize? What if she's on this trip? What if I've never met her and we're never gonna know that we're gonna fall? So I just start doing this like, this is going to lead to this and this and this, and internally, like, I'm going to, and then one of the guys on our team, this guy Jonas, comes up to me, and he's this, like, 6'3", large African man with just this thick African accent that just comes up to me, and he's like, I heard you got stung by a scorpion. Yeah, you'll be fine. Okay, I trust you, Jonas. And in my trust, I then sat down, and we had this long meeting with a lot of the pastors and villagers that can go sometimes from an hour all day. So if you think your church service is long or this chapel is long, hour all day. Just wrap your mind around that. Sitting in church all day. Okay? So that could be happening. The whole time my finger's numb, then my hand is numb, then my wrist is numb, then my forearm's numb, then my elbow's numb, and I'm not feeling anything, and it's like my foot fell asleep, but it's just more and more, and it starts getting up to here, and I start putting it together. Then I was like, blood travels throughout my body. Blood is eventually going to get to here. What's going to happen? So I go up to my leader, and I lean down to him, and I'm like, hey, John, I don't want to make an issue, but I'm kind of concerned. It's like, okay, we'll go to the hospital after. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm thinking like all day we'll be there. So we go through everything. We go through all our meeting, and then afterwards, my arm's still kind of like slowly losing feeling. And afterwards, Jonas comes up to me. We're getting on the bus to go back to our base, and he's like, I heard your arm's going numb. Yeah, Jonas, you'll be fine. Okay, cool, Jonas. Thanks. Awesome. So get into the bus, and I'm like, great, this is over. Jonas says I'm going to be fine. I trust Jonas. Jonas then takes the bus not to the right that's going to lead us back to our base, but to the left, and we start going all the way to a hospital. And I get to the hospital, and there's just this sea of African women and their children in front of this very, doesn't look like Overlake Hospital. It's very dirty. And they just walk me through the sea of women. I'm like, I'm the worst missionary in the world right now, just walking through all these like sick women and children. They're like, no, we need to get the white man to here to like get him healthy, which I just felt horrible about. But they sit me down, and so the reason they rushed me in is because apparently it was an emergency. I don't know. And they sit me down, they ask me some questions, and then this lady comes up to me and she's like, here, take these pills. So I take these pills, I drink them, and then I'm like, okay, so I'm going to be fine. This is over. Realize it's tap water. So at this point, I'm not going to die, but I realize I'm going to get a stomach virus and be throwing up for the next 24 hours to a week. And then I realized I would rather die. So I wish I didn't take this. So I'm like, cool, are we done? Are we over? And then the nurse goes, no, it's time for your shot. I'm like, okay. So I take off my shirt, and she's like, no, on the bottom. And I then have this moment of panic, realizing that I'm going to get a shot in a country or in a continent that is, from what I understood at that time, everyone has AIDS. And I'm about to get a needle put into my body. I'm like, this is a bad idea. And so then I go out, and I find my leader, and I find Jonas, and I'm thinking, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to have AIDS. And I'm going to have to explain to everyone, how I got HIV in Africa. This is where my mind is just free. I got HIV in Africa because I had to get a shot. No one's going to believe that. And I'm going to be the person going around to high schools telling kids not to go around having sex with everyone because you're going to get HIV and you're going to die. That's what I thought. That's where I'm going. And then I go to Jonas. I'm like, they're going to give me a shot. And he goes, you'll be fine. I'm like, okay, I hate Jonas. And so I go inside, and I get the shot, and I'm fine. And it takes a few days for the numbing to go down, but my arm got its feeling back. But the hardest thing in that entire journey for me was to trust Jonas. And Jonas was a man who knew what he was talking about. Because Jonas had been stung by a lot of scorpions before. And he had friends who had been stung by a lot of scorpions before. And me, a middle-class white kid from America who had never been to Africa before, getting stung by a scorpion for the first time, just starts freaking out about how my world's going to fall apart. And this man who actually knows something about it is going, don't worry. It's going to be fine. Trust me. And there's this story in the Bible. Do you guys heard of the Bible, right? Cool, great. Just making sure we're on the same page. Where Jesus, I'm doing the smartphone Bible right now because I forgot my hard copy. So this is in Mark 9. And Jesus had just come down from the mountain of the Transfiguration. He had revealed glory to a few of the disciples. And then his other disciples are down on the mountain trying to cast out a demon. And this is what happens is they bring the boy to Jesus. And the teacher says, the man in the crowd says, "Teacher, I brought you my son who's possessed by a spirit who's robbed him of speech. Whenever it seizes him, it throws him to the ground. He foams at the mouth, gnashes at his teeth, and becomes rigid. I asked your disciples to drive it out, but they could not." So if you ever have that feeling of freaking out, you're going to have that when your son is, I'm assuming none of you have sons, but if you had one, and your son was constantly throwing himself to the ground and shaking uncontrollably, we can use our imagination when we read the Bible. Imagine that. Just close your eyes. I want you guys to close your eyes, and we're going to imagine that. Imagine you're the father, okay? So you have your son, that whenever the spirit seizes him, it robs him of speech, throws him to the ground, he foams at the mouth, gnashes at his teeth, and becomes rigid. Keep your eyes closed. I want you guys to try to visualize this. Use your imagination. And I asked your disciples to drive out the spirit, but they could not. Jesus replied, "You unbelieving generation, how long shall I stand up with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me." So they brought him. And when the spirit saw Jesus, he threw the boy into a convulsion. He fell to the ground and rolled around foaming in his mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, "How long has he been like this?" "From childhood," he answered. "It often throws him into the fire or water to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." If you can, said Jesus, everything is possible for one who believes. Immediately, the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. When Jesus saw that the crowd was running to the scene, he rebuked the spirit, said, You deaf, you mute spirit, I command you to come out of him and never enter him again. And so, what verse I want you guys to think about is the I do believe, help me in my unbelief. Because you guys are in junior high right now. And I've been in junior high. And I really know how awful middle school can be and how hard high school can be. And I don't know what your guys' experience in life is, because I don't know you guys. And you guys don't know me, but I know one thing's true. Something in your life is hard. Something in your life is challenging, and not to burst your bubble, something in your life is always going to be challenging. And when we walk with Jesus, when we say, Jesus, take control of my life, like for me when I was younger, that meant, Jesus, give me everything I want, and I won't drink or swear or smoke or do naughty things if you give me everything I want. But in reality, Jesus and God, when he's turning to us, is just saying, trust me. Trust me. It's gonna be fine. And I want to do something to illustrate that. So can I get a volunteer? All right. So hopefully that illustrates it. Just that I want you guys to hold on to maybe that image and just think about there are going to be times, or maybe there are times in your life where you're just, everything is going to seem like you're just going to get dropped, but you don't see or understand what God is doing. And that's an incredible journey to be on. So that's it. We have 40 seconds, so I will give you one question. Great. How's the view from up there? You guys are good looking. You guys are good looking kids. All right, one more. Over. Okay, all the guys are going right here, so no. All right. Yeah. My favorite number, 71. Okay, last one. My biggest fear. Okay, I'll give you two. One, heights. But I've worked a lot in high adventure stuff, so I've learned how to overcome those. Two, failure. Failure. I'm afraid of failing in life. But you guys are awesome. And Mike? Okay, I'm going to pray. So, I'm going to pray. We're going to pray. Calm down. You crazy kids. All right. God, thank you that we can trust you. And thank you that you will walk alongside us in everything. And I thank you for these students who, they kind of rock. So, thank you, God, for making them. In your name, amen.
All right, to clubs.